Well, good afternoon and welcome to this Premier League men's hockey final between OHA and Derwent, about to get underway. When you left us after the women's grand final, the sun was out. It has now started snowing here at the Hockey Centre. So that is not that exciting for the players, but they won't care because there's a chance at glory on the line. McCambridge with a chance early in the circle, slides it on, a great save there. What a start to this competition. The ball is still live. Wow. Joining me, Scott Edwards. Scott, what a hot start to this men's Premier League grand final. I don't know why we expected anything less.
Haven't even had a chance to say hello. And Sam McCambridge just go having a shot. Magnus Mccauslan pulling out another brilliant save in the grand final. So it's fair to say that we are well underway in this grand final, and neither of these sides are going to waste a second out there, especially with the weather as it is. It does look like it's actually clearing a little bit, as silly as that sound, because we all got absolutely smashed just 30 seconds ago with the weather. But Derwent trying to create a bit of an attack down the left-hand side now. Just a simple clearance out. McCambridge picking it up on the right. Easily tackled by Vickery. Hemmed into that bottom corner. Vickery gets it out past the 23. Loose ball in midfield though. Good pick up through the middle. Chance to attack down the left now. It's Jaden Vince. Barely had a break in play. Barely had a chance to catch our breath. They've been going for 2 minutes. Pretty solid. It's a free hit to Derwent. So just looking at the two lineups, Harry. Now that we've got a chance as Vaughan Bowen streaks through the middle of the park. OHA, of course, look no further than number 1 Sam McCambridge and number 4 James Thomas. Both have scored 20 goals so far this season. Derwent make another attack around the top of the circle. Free hit just outside. Played on quickly. Did that go 5? It's a goal.
Well, first goal of the game to Derwent, and it has happened quickly. Catching the OHA defence a little bit unawares there. We'll have to watch the replay.
So Anchor won the free hit. It looks as if he's carried it 5 to put it into the bottom corner, but special comments here. Ben Reid has joined us in the commentary box. Ben, you're a talented umpire yourself. Give us your thoughts on that one.
Scotty, there's a fair bit of rain here, mate. Originally I thought that one was well and truly outside the circle, but looking at the replay, I think it was probably only a centimetre or 2 outside. So,
well, Ben, good to have you up here. Ben Reid is obviously a uni coach and Premier League player, as well as 50 games plus for the Tasmanian Tigers. But interestingly enough, Anchor scoring 2 quick goals against OHA in the qualifying final. So this game already on a similar script to the qualifying final between these teams, which OHA was victorious and went straight through to the grand final. Derwent, of course, having to do it the hard way against Canterbury at a shootout last week. And so Derwent, who finished well on top of the ladder, who were firm favourites coming into finals, will be a little bit glad they survived last week. But that early goal will make them feel a lot better. As a great overhead trap in the middle there from Murphy. Who can he find inside the circle? Can't get to McCambridge's sticks, but it's going to be an OHA long corner.
Yeah, look, I'm not surprised to see Anchor get on the scoreboard pretty early.
Yes, he's a talented player. He finds the right spots, and that finish was all class as he found side netting with that finish. And this must be Anchor's 600th or 700th grand final, I dare say. Ben Reid.
Geez, it'd have to be pretty close to his 600th, I reckon. He's been around for a long time, and every single game that he's played in the finals, he's had a very big impact, and you've already seen it here. He just jumped on that free hit from 4 or 5 yards out, and he was super quick to pull the trigger. Just caught everyone by surprise and just smashed it straight in the side netting. So, well done, Paul, and I reckon he's probably going to be in for another couple today.
Anchor, of course, left your club, Uni, in the off-season. Ben, so you've got a lot of experience playing with him and coaching him. And your tip is for a few more Anchor goals, which I dare say means you're tipping a Derwent win.
Well, my tip before the game was a 2-2 draw, with 2 goals to Anchor and 2 goals to Sam McCambridge. having played with Anchor, he's a man for the big occasion. I think he'll step up here and... Wow, that's a bad pass.
Mardell with a bad turnover. He's attacking the circle. Can he find a corner? He's going to do so there. And that Mardell turnover has been very, very costly. And Jaden Vince attacking the circle with some pace there and earning a short corner. So it's been a fast start here in the Men's Premier League final. And it's already Derwent 1-0 OHA, but OHA with the penalty corner chance. What's going to happen on this penalty corner, Ben Reid? What's your tip?
I think you're going to see James Thomas flick this one low to Magnus Mccauslan's right-hand side. And if he gets it right, I think we might see another goal.
So very specific, which we like up here in the commentary box. James Thomas, the tip for the flick. He, of course, had 20 goals this season for OHA. One of the top scorers. So we'll see if Ben Reid's prediction is correct. For Cambridge to push out. Thomas with the hit instead. Oh, it's off the post. Well, that is off the post early for OHA. Now it's Derwent with Webb in possession for the counter-attack. Bowen, he's got pace. Is this out too far in front of him? It is. Well, Reid, you were right about Thomas, but that came off the post with thundering pace. As we watch the replay here, bang!
Jeez,
And
I was not expecting the hit.
Unfortunately,
Good mix-up. He's used it now, though. No goal.
and unfortunately for OHA, Derwent survive. They do regain possession now through Budgeon.
Budgeon's been under a big injury cloud for a couple of weeks now. He almost hobbled past me before when I was in the crowd. I'm not sure that he's exactly match fit, but he could still have a big impact here. He has an eye for goal.
Those special comments from Ben Reid, University coach and player. Vince again's had a hot start to this game. Can he find McCambridge in the circle? No. Vickery doing a good job of defence there. Well, Vince has started this game certainly very hot, Ben.
Yeah, look, Jaden Vince is a young player that came into the under-21s. Obviously, the under-21s didn't happen because of COVID in New South Wales, but he has been having a massive impact in Premier League games for OHA, and I can tell you that he was showing some exceptional promise in the under-21 trainings and games in the lead up to that tournament, which unfortunately didn't happen, but he's got a big future ahead of him.
As we see Derwent in attack now, McCarthy getting involved. And it's going to be another OHA free. Well, Scott Edwards, we expected this game to start at a fast pace, but it has beaten our expectations still from the frenetic start. We've had multiple shots from OHA, a post, and then, of course, that Anchor goal. A little bit of controversy if it travelled 5 or not, but it looked like it was just on the 5. Mardell entering the ball now. Bolton with some possession in the circle, and he's won a short corner. Well, another twist and turn here. It's going to be a short corner to Derwent, Scott.
Yeah, having seen the replay of that Anchor goal, I think nothing too wrong with that one. It was just a brilliantly taken free hit and a great shot in the end. Derwent with their first chance from the penalty corner. We'll probably see young Harry Winch maybe have a flick if he's out on the park. He was the 2021 Premier League Umpire of the Year named just last week. So certainly good with the whistle in his mouth, but on the field we know he's got a pretty powerful drag flick on the penalty corners too, so wouldn't be surprised if they give him a chance first up. Popovsky to inject. It is Winch. The trap's not great, forced to adapt a little bit. Sam Keating does well with the initial tackle and does well to stop the run of Stuart Webb. Sam Keating wearing the captain's armband for OHA this season, important part of their defence. And I think he's just shown his worth there on the penalty corner defence.
Bowen restarting. McCarthy in front of him. Goes to him now. Can he find a way into the circle? He can. Can he find an OHA foot? No. Keating clears. McCambridge, good with a little bit of time and space. Mardell on him. Yeah, a little bit of a foot there, but well done from Mardell to hold him up. Derwent defence getting back.
Now, Derwent have very often this season scored early goals. They've made quite a habit of it. It'd be fair to say that maybe 10 to 15 of their matches this season had them scoring within the first couple of minutes of the match. Certainly you think back to the semi-final in semi-final just a couple of weeks ago, sorry. Same thing, a couple of goals early, and then OHA reeled them back in. So early goal here is right on form for them, but we are seeing some bodies flying all over the place. I think we're going to see the first card. Sam McCambridge has bodied Tom Broadby, and he's got a yellow card, 5 minutes, and he's gone into Angus Bolton as well. It might be a follow-up. We could see 10 minutes here for Sam McCambridge.
Well, we'll have to look at that one, but Ben Reid, what do you make of that card?
Harry, it was hard to get a very good look at that, although from where I'm sitting, it looked like Sam went in pretty recklessly there, so probably fair enough to give him a 5-minute rest.
Here is the man who was taken out by Sam McCambridge, Tom Broadby over the ball. Uses Mardell back deep. Josh Mardell has had a brilliant season, playing a sweeping defensive role and really setting up a lot of Derwent's attacks. Vickery now attacking down the right, coming from wide again. Thomas, not a bad tackle in the end. He actually wins the free hit there.
Yeah, good tackle there from James Thomas. He's a very experienced defender. You look at Anchor there, he's getting right up in the face of James Thomas.
Here's Kurt Budgeon over the ball. Nice long ball, but it's intercepted. Battle on for control is won by Bridley. Tries to feed it back to the top of the circle. There is Mardell making the clearance. Now
interesting matchup there, seeing James Clifford that deep in defence playing on Isaac Ridley almost one-on-one. I'm not sure if that's a plan or that's well umpired from Aaron Kitchener. Lyndon McCarthy was never getting that ball. Let's play on every day of the week.
I think James Clifford might have been told to go and mark Isaac Ridley very closely after the influence Isaac's had in the last couple of weeks.
Geez, 2 weeks ago in the 1v2 qualifying final, Isaac Ridley ran riot against Derwent. So, yeah, wouldn't surprise me if they were running a pretty hard tag on him.
Here is Ridley.
Again.
Good intercept by Winch. Does win the free hit in the end too. He'll go overhead. Bolton over the ball. Not much in front of him. He has to take on two, and he does successfully. Into the 23. He's got a man on the spot. It was the youngster. And Jackson Turner getting the ball down to Mac Winch, brother of Harry Winch. Head to head, the two brothers come to a draw for that one, I think. Pass isn't great from Mac. Bolton. Now Bowen. Long ball down the line. Important touch from Oliver Smith. Just saying, we saw Kurt Budgeon. You mentioned he was under a bit of an injury cloud. He took a tumble a couple of minutes ago and took a very long time to get back up. Another man who's under an injury cloud is number 26, Oliver Smith. Got a big knee injection a couple of weeks ago. He missed the semi-final too. So he's out there for a grand final. He's won the player of the match in a grand final 2 times though. And that was before he turned 20, so he's a big game performer, Oliver Smith.
Yeah, look, I don't think you can blame Nick Leslie for bringing those two in. They're both proven performers in big games. It's really interesting at the moment. Derwent are running a massive press on OHA with Anchor at centre forward, splitting the two fullbacks and just trying to make the OHA fullbacks play straight up the ground rather than being able to transfer it to the other side. And I think that OHA, they usually do play a zonal press, sort of a half-court sag press where they don't even really mark. So, look, it's got them this far, and a lot of teams have really struggled to play against it. I think players in Hobart are struggling to come to terms with the fact that you're not going to get marked in midfield against OHA, and it's really working to their advantage.
I think pre-season certainly looked at OHA. We knew they had enough to make it all the way, but certainly didn't expect them to finish second and go all the way to a grand final. I think many people were predicting that it was going to be a hard year for them, but just having a look at the goal difference. Their goal difference was up in the 30s. They were plus 31 for the year, which was the second best behind Derwent by a long way. So I think in terms of their output for the game, the way their defence is played and the way their attack is converted, they actually deserve to be here.
Oh, look, without a doubt they deserve to be here. I mean, they won straight through in the qualifying final, so they've been waiting for. They had to wait a week to see who they were going to play against. I think without putting it all on one player, I'd say that James Thomas did have a pretty massive impact coming back from Melbourne. He slots right into the heart of their defence, and he flicks their corners. So that goal difference probably doesn't come down solely to him, but geez, he's certainly helped it.
He scored 20 this year to finish the joint competition leading goal scorer. He pipped his old mate Sam McCambridge, who has just entered the field of play again after his 5-minute suspension has expired. Mac Winch getting a little bit of heavy attention there in the midfield too. Two very solid umpires out there today, Ben. We've got young Vincent Harmon and young Aaron Kitchener. It's fantastic to see two young umpires, up and coming, getting a chance to officiate a Premier League Grand Final. That's a great ball into the circle. Anchor's waiting. Out comes Henry Chambers. The ball's still loose. The ball is still loose, and it's a free hit there. So,
wow, Anchor's not going to be happy with that. Yeah, look, it's really, really good to see the two young umpires out there. I think that they both put a lot of time and effort into their umpiring, and I know that they review a lot of footage after they've umpired, which is fantastic. So they're only getting better, these two, which is great. It's good to see them in the big game.
Well, here is Anchor in the sunshine on the left wing. Great ball into the circle. Bolton spins, turns, puts it into the back of the net, and it's number 2 for Derwent. This first quarter has all been the strikers, and Angus Bolton scores once again. Big goal, big grand final. Huge moment.
What a ball from Paul Anchor. He's just been in the play for, wow. That is just an incredible pass. I think he was very, very stiff getting that free hit against him a second ago, and he's just fired that one into Bolts. It makes a really good 4-stick trap, and he turns, and that's what he does best, just pushing it straight into the goals on his 4-stick. Really, really good to see.
Well, what a start to this match. We've seen Derwent grab 2 goals in the opening quarter, and OHA haven't had too many answers. They lost Sam McCambridge for about 5 minutes there with a yellow card. Not a great tackle from him, and probably deserved to spend a bit of time on the pine. Paul Anchor has been absolutely brilliant in these opening 15 minutes. Player of the match so far. He's been in everything. Scored that opening goal too. Just moments away from starting here.
Well, Scott, you can't help but feel that 5-minute yellow card to Sam McCambridge for a tackle that probably didn't need to be laid really cost OHA a chance to gain some momentum and structure in that first term, and may have let Derwent just get the ascendancy there. So he's a big game player, and he's back on the field, so I think he will come out very hard and knows that he has to work hard to get OHA back into this game. And he's done it before. We saw 2 clinical goals from Sam McCambridge in the qualification final, so I'm sure will have a big part to play.
Look, Sam McCambridge is a huge grand final performer. He has scored a number of brilliant goals in grand finals. And of course, this OHA side, 6 premierships in the last 20 years. And funnily enough, Derwent also 6 premierships in the last 20 years. They are the 2 most successful men's teams over the last 2 decades. And the winner of today will be unquestionably the best team from the last 2 decades. So there's a little bit more on the line for both of these sides in terms of the history. Keating, not a great ball through the middle. Bowen intercepts. He's got 1 man in front of him. Might have been worth just to go himself there. He's just pushed off the ball.
Oh, Sam Keating's ball across the face was extremely dangerous, and they nearly got punished through Bowen for Derwent. Bowen there is, plays on quickly. Has Grundy, can't find him, but does well enough to earn the free. Derwent's structure looking pretty good from this free. It is Bowen now. He's got outlet options if he needs. Finds Broadby. Catches to himself, gets it in the circle. Ball bumbles around. It's going to be a Derwent just outside. Bowen over it again, looking frustrated, doesn't have a heap of options. Throws it wide to McCarthy. Slaps straight in. Leslie can't deal with it, but manages to spill it over the baseline, and it'll be a Derwent long corner.
Bowen once again. Seen a lot of possession these last couple of minutes. Mardell can set something up from this position too. There's not too much in front of him. His ball just takes a deflection off an OHA stick.
Bit of a slow start to this second quarter. Both teams just eyeing each other out. Grundy now with some space around the back. Can he find his way into the circle? He does. What can he do with it? No one at home for Derwent on the spot though. So it's Bowen with possession again. He's going to walk into the circle now. Protects it well. Can't find anyone. Anchors there as he always is low. Clifford, sorry. But Derwent can't find a way through this OHA defence. And another long corner. Broadby first time Bowen. Auto plays now. Hits it in, but it looks like that's come off an OHA stick just outside the circle. So yet another long corner for Derwent. Sun shining here now at the Hockey Centre. We've had rain, wind, sunshine. Mardell using his pace, slides it in. And finally, OHA gained possession.
Well, that was a heavy couple of minutes there. Derwent hunting around the top of the circle and not too many options presented themselves. So OHA, nice and tight defence just for those last 5 minutes. Thomas wants to go on a bit of a run now too. Here is Bridley. Lost possession of the ball. There's Broadby now. Good touch from Clifford. Bolton beaten to it by Leslie. Ball's still loose. They're struggling to get it out of here, OHA. Oliver Smith wins the free hit. How important is Nick Leslie going to be in the middle of the park for OHA today if they are going to challenge for this title, Harry?
Yeah, Leslie just such an important cog for OHA. Very stable. It was a great interception there. Wow, that was a little bit too close for comfort for OHA with Sproul intercepting. Sorry, Budgeon that was. Yeah, Nick Leslie's just a huge cog for OHA. He's a general in the middle, intercepts the ball and uses it really well. So he's going to be really important in getting it to the likes of Bridley and McCambridge up the ground if OHA are going to come back level. Clifford on the far side. Needs to be careful throwing an elbow. Bowen over it. He's been in the game as well. Called his name a lot. A high press from McCambridge. Puts the transfer under a little bit of pressure. Vickery's up to it. Gives to Broadbury, but OHA are hunting here. There is Budgeon. Your man Leslie Scott just raises it unfortunately. So Derwent get out of trouble there.
God, we've seen them in this position quite a few times over the last 5-10 minutes, Harry, and Derwent haven't really produced much from it. I feel like they're playing right into OHA's hands. OHA happy to sag back and block that space. And the more this game is played on set pieces and free hits, the more it's going to play into OHA's hands.
Derwent just need to be careful when they're playing it around their back line. McCambridge certainly hovering and waiting for a mistake there and a turnover. So Derwent need to make sure they're not too casual because OHA are hunting. We're joined, of course, by Ben Reid, University coach player for Premier League men, as well as Tasmanian Tigers player. Ben, how are you seeing this second quarter? A little bit of a cagey start so far.
Yeah, look, it is pretty cagey, Harry. I think that if Derwent get the next goal here, then it's going to be really, really difficult for OHA to come back. I think we spent a little bit of time in this second quarter talking about Nick Leslie and the impact that he has, and I'm actually quite surprised to see that he as player coach has put himself at centre half for OHA. I would have thought that he would have started himself as the free fullback or sweeper in the heart of the defence, because that, from my perspective, that's where he does his best work, and I think that he's actually one of the best players in the competition when he plays there. So that's a big tactical move from him.
OHA doing some attacking now. Derwent with some strong tackles, so umpire Harmon all over that though. And here is that man Leslie, who's put himself in centre half, delivering into the circle. Can they find a foot? It's Leslie again. And he finds the foot of the Derwent player, and a short corner for OHA. Vickery's foot it was, and Leslie just showing a little bit of class up the ground, Ben Reid.
Yeah, look, I think that's probably the flip side of what I was just saying. I think he's so incredibly good defensively playing that free man role, but if he plays himself at centre half, it does free him up to get up the park and have a bit of an attacking licence, which I think we just saw there. So he's done well to earn that corner, and now it's up to James Thomas, I think, is going to be the one that is trusted to flick this one.
So you think this time a James Thomas flick? We saw the hit from Thomas last time off the post for OHA. Could very easily have been 1-1 at that stage. So looks like it might be Thomas to flick again. Oh, it is Thomas to flick, but McCarthy with the deflection off his stick. Well run as first runner, so it'll be an OHA long corner.
He is quick, Lyndon McCarthy. He gets out there and he's fearless. He gets out there and has a real go at it. So
the veteran Webb with a good flat stick tackle. Finds Poposky down the line. He's got Huey up front. Gets it to him. Ridley on him, playing more of a defensive position. Does well, just Ridley. Great reach. Playing in a sort of a new roll down back, Benjamin Reid is Ridley.
Jeez. He's a very versatile hockey player, Isaac. I tell you what, he can do it all. I've always been a big fan of Isaac Ridley, and just seeing him do that, wow.
Yeah, I think certainly probably an underrated player in Premier League hockey. Not known as around the traps as one of the most worrying strikers, but certainly finds space and uses the ball very well as a striker. You see Webb to Mardell. Mardell delivers into the circle, can't get through Thomas. Mardell will be annoyed with that. It's a turnover that doesn't need to happen, finding the free fullback to the other free fullback, Ben Reid, but luckily Thomas threw possession back away.
What are your thoughts on this, Harry? When do you think OHA need to score to make a game of this?
I think there's plenty of time. We've got under 10 minutes to go in this second term. I think OHA will consider themselves in it up until the last quarter, to be honest. Ben Reid, we've seen Premier League men's games from all clubs just late goals winning games, so I certainly think that OHA will be in this the whole time, and no club really in the men's division has shown a lot of composure and able to hold out games in the last few years. So
that's true. From where I'm sitting, I think OHA are in a lot of trouble at the moment. I don't think this is going the way that they wanted it to, and
as we see a short corner for Derwent, and that's thoughts from Benjamin Reid. So the game not going the way OHA wants. Obviously 2-0 down, but what else do you think, Ben, is the cause?
They're 2-0 down, but I don't think they're really getting a whole lot going in attack. I think that corner that they had that hit the post in the first quarter was massive. I think that went in. That would have been 1-1, and that really does make a massive difference. But the looking at it at the moment, if this goes in, it could be trouble. Get Stuart Webb in there calling the shots. He's walking right into the circle, letting everyone know about it.
Webb the veteran, I think, asking for a couple of kids to just stand back from the fence, because we know that these...
Jeez, he doesn't like the crowd. There's 3 people there. He doesn't like it.
Flicks can go wide. Curtis to inject. Oh, it's going to be Winch with the flick, but it's just wide. And OHA live to fight another day to see if they can get any sort of momentum in this game.
Cardinal sin from a drag flicker there. Can't ever score if you flick it at the concrete wall, Harry.
No, certainly true. Ben Reid, very talented drag flicker from university. Rarely doesn't put him on target. Really doesn't find the back of the net. OHA now, a lot of Derwent players in the midfield though. Turner finds himself on the other side. What can he do from here? Not a lot of options ahead of him. Leslie. Just a little bit sloppy from Curtis. So Leslie with the free, auto plays. Who can he find up front? Budgeon. Can't make the trap.
And we just saw a little bit of influence from Jackson Sproul there in the middle of the ground for OHA. His father played 188 games for Australia, so he's certainly got the pedigree to influence this game.
Smith, he's been quiet so far, but doesn't need much time. What can he find in the circle? Oh, good tackling there from Mardell in defence, and Smith cannot find anything.
Certainly not looking great for OHA at the moment as the first half winds down. They have not really caused too many problems for Magnus Mccauslan outside of the opening seconds, of course. And still we see them playing around the top of the circle. unable to really break down this Derwent defence. They have won a penalty corner though, and this is important timing for them. And you would think that James Thomas doesn't need 3 attempts to cause a bit of havoc from the penalty corner, and that's what he's about to have.
Crowd getting involved here. A bit of both teams fired up in the corner. And feel like Derwent might have just been suckered into giving away a penalty corner outside the circle, which is fairly unnecessary if you're up by 2 goals. But there's a lot of passion in grand finals, and we're seeing that today. So another OHA penalty corner, their third. Will it be Thomas again? We've seen the hit and the flick from Thomas. He's their number 1 corner taker.
Taking a big run up too.
Big run up equals big goals.
Injection. Trap. It is Thomas with a huge flick, and he's flung it wide. I think Magnus Mccauslan might have even got a touch on that and sent it wide. So OHA straight back in. That's Budgeon on his reverse. Saved by Mccauslan once again. Cleared out. Not far enough. Turner. Big entry from him. That's going to spill nicely for Vince. And what does that come off? Is that a body? I believe the OHA players believe that one's come off the Derwent defender's body, while Mccauslan was way out of position and claiming a stroke, potentially.
Well, OHA appealing for the stroke, and it's been given. They have awarded the stroke for OHA for the shot hitting the body of the Derwent defender, and it must have been ruled that Mccauslan was not in behind, as we see some nice sportsmanship there from Thomas and Mccauslan before the stroke.
Yeah, I think we just saw a quick replay, and I think that was a pretty straightforward flick. Penalty stroke. Thomas steps up to take it. Oh, and he has put it into the backboard. Mccauslan guessed right, but Thomas just able to get it underneath him. So there is 1 back for OHA. And we see a pretty good claim for a penalty stroke there. Ben Reid nodding his head here in the box, agrees with the umpires on that one.
Well, Ben Reid made the call that OHA would be the first scorer in this second term, and he's 100% correct.
So 2-1 here. OHA have just found their way back into this match in the closing minutes of the first half. James Thomas putting away a penalty stroke there. And now Derwent just need to regain a little bit of composure before half time, just to make sure they don't completely lose the plot here just yet. Still got that 1 goal buffer. Overhead out of defence. Paddle on for possession out on the left wing for Derwent. Anker now picks up the loose ball. In fact, he makes the mistrap in the end and it rolls over the baseline. There's going to be another card here. And this one is given to Kurt Budgeon. I didn't quite see what his involvement was in all of that, but he's done something right in front of the umpire. And eagle eye Vincent Harmon blowing the whistle over on the far side. Picked that one up straight away and has sent Budgeon off for a 2-minute penalty, so I think that might be the end of Budgeon's half, given the time that's left on the clock. Good tackle from Smith, starting to get into the game here. Nice ball out to McCambridge. McCambridge through on goal, puts it into the bottom corner, and Sam McCambridge has done it once again in a grand final. What an important goal for them, and all of a sudden 2-2 just before half time, and OHA, we thought they were done and dusted after the first quarter. This game is right back on.
This is very, very interesting now, Scotty. All of a sudden, since I had a chance to comment, OHA managed to jag 2 goals. It's good for the game. And geez, Magnus Mccauslan will be filthy. He didn't save that stroke. He went the right way. He knew exactly where James Thomas was going. He just didn't quite get there.
Great run by Clifford into the circle. Now Derwent with a chance. They had 3 swarming around that loose ball, and none of them could get a clean hit on it, but they do win a penalty corner, much to the dismay of the OHA defenders.
That's really, really well done there from Lyndon McCarthy. I think probably a year or two ago, that ball spills out and he's trying to smash that on his reverse into the top corner. But he's taken the smart option there and he's found a foot and he's giving Harry Winch a go.
Very mature play there by Lyndon McCarthy. Now,
Tell you what though, if this is anything like the rest of the season, Derwent just can't seem to hold on to a 2-goal lead. It's a dangerous one for them. They need this, I reckon, Scotty. They have to get it. Who are they going to give it to?
Josh Mardell. Back to Paul Anker. Saved by Henry Chambers. Was the Mardell first choice drag flicker for Derwent over the last couple of weeks. It's a huge goal scorer for them too. And he's gone and stepped up and taken that one as well.
Gee, I reckon that one would have hurt, Scotty. What do you think?
I reckon the turf just feels a little bit hard on an icy day. So there's quite a fair bit of feeling out there. Neither side is taking a backward step. I feel like Derwent have created maybe the better chances, but scoreboard reads 2-all. OHA certainly have the momentum behind them at the moment. Joe Murphy hasn't had too much of an influence just yet. Shout out to his sister, Maddie Murphy, who is probably watching along this live stream now from Iowa. She's over in the US playing over there for the Hawkeyes. Bolton allowed to continue. That's a fantastic tackle from Nicholas Leslie. Finds Sam McCambridge, who's got a 1-on-4 up ahead of him. Does well enough to hold on to it. Good ball into space too. Webb comes off, just chops it out over the sideline. Looking to move the ball quickly too, OHA, even though they don't exactly have numbers forward.
Oh, Anchor, look at him getting back. He's a jack of all trades.
And
I think he was trying to hit the OHA player.
I think he knew the halftime siren was coming and just
Naughty.
tried to put that away, but halftime 2-all. What a fascinating first half we've seen here. Harry Vanderwood. This has been, well, it's everything that we expected it to be. Early goals from Derwent and a comeback from OHA. The game is all tied at halftime.
Well, certainly is. It's got a very exciting game, and you have to feel somehow OHA have the momentum going into half-time. Derwent, I think, will just start to feel a little bit concerned. They've been in this exact position before, going up 2-0, and OHA made their way back into the game. And Derwent also had trouble against Canterbury last week, so I think there could be a few nerves throughout the Derwent camp at half-time. But OHA will all be smiles. Derwent have certainly struggled to hold a lead from the back end of this season, so I can imagine that their camp will be a little bit nervous.
Yeah, we saw 2 early goals there. First one was from Paul Anker, and then the second one was Angus Bolton, who scored just at the end of the first quarter. And then OHA, just those last 5 minutes of the first half, James Thomas getting a penalty stroke there, and then Sam McCambridge scoring a fantastic second goal for OHA to tie this one up.
Welcome back to the sunshine at the Tasmanian Hockey Centre for this men's grand final Premier League hockey, OHA versus Derwent. It is 2-all, and it has been a drama-filled first half of hockey. I'm Harry Vanderwood. Joining me is Scott Edwards in the commentary box. Scott, I can't believe there's another half to go. It has been hot and intense on the field and up here in the commentary box as well.
We've had probably just as much drama looking at the weather report as we have had action on the field. Saw those 2 early goals to Derwent in the first quarter, and we thought they were well in control of the match, but OHA just stealing a bit of momentum towards the end of that first half. Sam McCambridge, no better man in grand finals to step up and score important goals like that. Of course, we saw it in the semi-final between these two teams as well, so we are underway in the second half, and I tell you what, this one's going to be hard to predict exactly what's going to happen, because it's one of those games where anything can happen.
No, it feels almost like a bit of a replay from the qualifying final. We saw Derwent go up 2-0 before OHA reeled them back in, and then eventually won on one-on-one penalty shootout. Winch with the overhead. cut off by Smith. He got a little bit more involved in that second term. Leslie, he's getting hunted from behind. Oh, it's a good little jink there from, what was it, but McCarthy comes away with it, and a lazy toss out of defence. I'm not sure if he'd be very happy with that at all.
Leslie able to attack the circle now. Important intercept from Mardell. He'll have a huge job in this second half. It's been immense for the side so far this season. Now Vickery just having a little bit of trouble getting the ball under control and getting it out comfortably. Derwent. Bit of early pressure applied from OHA. Leslie, nice to see him getting really involved in the play too. Here's McCambridge. Spinning was Winch. Shot from Smith, and it's onto the foot of the Derwent player. It's a penalty corner, so a little bit messy there in the circle for those 30 seconds, but the end result is OHA's 4th penalty corner.
And Mardell just remonstrating with Kitchener there over the penalty corner call, but it sort of shows the fact that Derwent, even though we're only a few minutes into this third term, just seem a little bit rattled, like they're on the back foot. Like they haven't been the team that's been up 2-0 most of the game so far. So Derwent, just a few demons at the moment, and they need to somehow find a way to just gather their composure. The full half of hockey to go and go again, but it's OHA with this penalty corner.
Smith on his reverse. Great save by Mccauslan. Down low too. Shot still on, but it's high and wide. Interesting, they went on that penalty corner, they went to Joe Murphy instead. A little bit of a variation.
And a great save by Mccauslan. Really keeping that one out. So a hot start for OHA here in the second half.
Yeah, they really carried that momentum from the end of the first half into the second half. So they'll really want to capitalise on it and get another goal here, I reckon. Free hit just outside the circle. Leslie straight over it, playing on quickly. There's a huge amount of numbers and sticks around that ball whenever it goes into the Derwent defensive circle. They have an early out over the top. Popovsky underneath it. The ball's loose. Probably could have won a free hit there too, but allowed to play on. Nice little spin skill from James Thomas. Gets himself out of trouble.
So Ben Reid, University coach, what is your message to Derwent at halftime if you're coaching there?
It's a pretty difficult one for Nathan Fitzpatrick, the coach of Derwent, because what he's got is a team that come out of the box so hard, and they often get the lead really early. And for some reason, when they concede a goal, they tend to concede another one, and quite often after that they concede one more, which is a recipe for disaster for them. So what I'd be saying to them is that they need to just treat it like they did right at the start of the game. They were actually dominating. They had so much possession. They had so much possession in the attacking 30 of the field. They were creating chances, and just keep that confidence. Keep your chin up, and make sure that you keep running and keep understanding and keep believing that you can win the game.
Don't think I've seen a team ride the extremes of momentum as much as Derwent have this season. We see a stop in play. There's a little bit of argy-bargy. The cards come out again. And it's Tom Broadby this time who received a green card and will spend a couple of minutes on the sideline. So he was the victim of Sam Cambridge's tackle at the start of the game. He's found himself off the pitch with a card himself, so a little bit of lack of discipline there. But yeah, certainly Derwent are a team that goes from extreme to extreme. They will score very quickly and very early, and then can certainly be punished seemingly quite easily too. So they've been the best side all season. They finished on top of the ladder. They only lost 2 games until their semi-final loss against this OHA side. So they really do have everything in the bag for them to walk away with a premiership, but certainly hasn't been as easy on the balance of the play as what it might suggest just by looking at the stats and the ladders.
They dominated the regular season. I think they had a 14-point clearance at the top of the ladder. It's almost unheard of down here for a team to be seemingly that much better than the second place team. And what I think we're seeing here is that perhaps those numbers in the regular season aren't necessarily representative of how much better they are than OHA, because OHA are really taking it to them here. I think had Derwent have slotted that penalty corner in that second quarter and put it to 3-0, I think it could have been a bloodbath. But now it's game on. 2-all.
It's interesting looking at the sides too. I would say that Derwent probably have the better depth, probably a more even spread of talent across the park, whereas OHA certainly rely on 4 or 5 key players through the middle. But as we see in finals, it really does come down to those couple of players who can produce, as Paul Anker, the goal scorer of the first goal for Derwent and set up the second goal, has the ball out on the right wing. Comfortably controlled by Nick Leslie, who was probably a bit quiet in the first quarter and now has exerted quite an influence over this game.
Yeah, look, if OHA win, Nick Leslie's going to have a massive hand in it. I don't think there's any two ways about that. Scott, what do you think?
Certainly my thoughts exactly, Ben. OHA switch the play out to the right. Jackson Turner, he'll be enjoying today. Part of this OHA side, he's been part of that group for a long time, gets his chance at another grand final. Was a young kid coming through, watching on when they won 4 in a row. Now he's got a real chance to make his own part in history. Sweeping through his Mardell again, making an intercept and clearing.
And Derwent are sticking to a man-on-man type approach here, Scotty. They're sticking to a full press with Anker trying to separate the fullbacks, and they've got Henry Curtis here at right wing trying to put some pressure on Leslie, who I think might have actually dropped back into the back 4 to play more of a defensive role. It's always very interesting tactically watching OHA play, because I think they've got a couple of different things that they can do, and it does change the way that the opposition has to play against them.
Looks like they might have won a penalty corner here too.
Have a look at the replay here. First of all, I thought Budgeon went to ground pretty easily, but oh look, no, I think that is a corner. I think it has actually hit the shin of Josh Mardell. Originally, I thought Budgeon went to ground, and it looked a bit untidy, and I thought it would have been a free hit out for Derwent, but well done, Aaron. Fantastic.
No, 2 very talented young umpires out there who are very sharp with their knowledge of the rules and their ability to make tough calls in tough games. They've done a great job so far. OHA with the penalty corner, they're 5th. Haven't converted any so far. This one is for Thomas, he flicks. And that one straight at Magnus Mccauslan.
That's come off the inside of Magnus Mccauslan's right heel. I think he was heading towards that bottom right-hand side, and he's managed to collect it with the inside of his right heel. Great save. Bit of heat on it from Thomas. Gee, James Thomas will not be happy with the way these penalty corners have been going. Magnus Mccauslan is all over it at the minute.
And it's another penalty corner. Not a great clearance from Grundy there, and he's put it straight onto the foot of Vaughan Bowen. Number 6 now for OHA. Ben, you've played a number of grand finals in interesting weather conditions. Sun is now very bright out there. We've got some dark clouds coming over once again. How much does the weather actually affect you mentally while you're out there playing the game?
It affects the crowd a hell of a lot more than it affects the players, I reckon, Scotty. I think you're right in the zone when you're playing, particularly from our perspective when we hadn't played in a grand final for a long time. The weather meant nothing to us. But today, who knows?
Oh, not a great trap. Thomas forced to improvise.
Another corner, and I'll be very, very surprised, Scotty, if this one doesn't get fired into the bottom right-hand corner of the Derwent goal. James Thomas is due here, because Joe Murphy is a very, very good flicker in his own right, and I don't think he's had much of an opportunity this year, which is very much justified given 20 goals to James Thomas. But as the coach, Nick Leslie, you're going to have to change things up at some point if your main figure's not scoring.
Looks like he has changed things up. Looks like it was Joe Murphy, and it looks like he has scored a goal, and it looks like OHA are 3-2 up. Fantastic call from you, Ben Reid. Joe Murphy has stepped up and scored a goal for OHA that puts them in front in a huge grand final.
Well, Ben.
Yep, it was Murphy. Defence got a good piece of it, and it's rolled over the goal line and gone in.
Well, it's Ben Reid, the expert. That's why he's up at the commentary box, because not only is the coach of university, but I'm sure a very able penalty corner attack coach as well. So got the best in the business up here in the box, and also Scotty and myself. OHA now 3, Derwent 2, and you had a feeling that seems like a silly thing to say, but the team that takes their opportunities is really going to win this game. And OHA just somehow, midway through that second term, have put a lot of pressure on Derwent. And Derwent don't look like a team that's been on top of the ladder all year, and they look like it's just lacking a little bit of composure. And OHA will be keen to pile this momentum on while they still can.
Yeah, it's a little bit of deja vu all over again, Harry, with the semi-final. OHA winning that one after Derwent took an early lead. And Oliver Smith has just won another penalty corner for the Ships. Smith has been impressive too. As we said, he had those injections last week after missing the semi-final. He's come back into the grand final. Good selection choice there from Nick Leslie to bring a big game performer back into the game for this one, and he's had an influence.
Yeah, he certainly has, Scott. He started a little bit slow in that first quarter, which makes perfect sense when you're coming in with an injury cloud, and since then he's worked his way into the game, and he's really caused a few problems for this Derwent defence with his running through the midfield. So, and another OHA penalty corner. Variation this time, Turner puts it in the roof, but unfortunately the first shot has to hit the backboard. So some good theatre for the crowd, but he's chipped it with a sandwich into the roof. And Derwent come away. Well, Winch with some skills, takes on Winch. Vince a little bit clumsy, but holds him up, which is good. Winch again beats Leslie, showing a little bit of class, the youngster. But Vince eventually winning possession back. Leslie now. Bit of space up here.
Yeah. Oh, great ball from Budgeon. Had the run from the young Mac Winch flying in there. Paying off Harry Winch, former OHA player. Moved to Derwent back in 2020. And now in his second year with Derwent. On the verge of potentially getting a premiership with his new side, but also potentially he might see his old side pip him at the post.
Well, Scott, I heard during the week that in that first qualifying final they were two Winch boys getting stuck into each other. A few words, a little bit of chirps, so I can't imagine the dinner table tonight and for the next couple of weeks after the result of this game, because one of them will be a champion, and unfortunately for one of them will be second place.
Might not be too civilised in the Winch household after tonight's match.
First time touch into the circle from McCarthy, but can't go anywhere. Vince has been very impressive today. Looks fit and fast, and there we go there. Taking on Webb and Winch, but can't get through Webb, the veteran. And there's Bridley with the intercept. Your man, Benjamin Reid. Isaac Bridley with the intercept, playing a new role today for him. Down back and doing a good job. And doing so again there.
He's just taken Paul Anker to school there.
Both teams seeming to choose this time in the third quarter to whip out some skills. There's been some great stick skills, but
Haven't seen them in the match so far, but just some reason in this third term they've decided it's time.
It's pretty amazing in this third quarter. As in the commentary box, we've hardly turned our head to the left up to Derwent's attacking end. Oh dear. I'll keep my mouth shut on that one.
A physical tackle there from McCarthy, and too much, said the umpire. So OHA come away with it. Mount Wellington looking very dark, so there could be rain coming. That may affect this game a little bit. Of course, it was wet in the first term when Derwent had some ascendancy, so who knows. Vince in the circle, what a trap. What can he do with it? Finds it. Oh, is that a foot from Derwent? No, well defended. Wow, Vince has been very dangerous up there today.
Yeah, he's a really, really silky player up front for OHA, and that was a great trap on the reverse. Great vision from Leslie. I tell you what, that could have easily been a goal. The point I was trying to make before, Harry, is that we actually haven't seen Derwent in their attacking third yet. I don't think at all in this third quarter. It's been all OHA. A lot of people did predict that Derwent would start really, really quickly and then they'd drop away, which it doesn't actually feed into what I've heard from Coach Nathan Fitzpatrick about the level of fitness that they display, and they've had a massive pre-season Derwent. They're a very, very fit team, but geez, to go 2-0 up in a qualifying final and now in a grand final, they're staring down the barrel at the minute. Someone's going to need to stand up, and guess who I think's going to stand up, Harry?
Paul Anchor.
That man on the ball right now. Here he goes. Come on, Paul.
Oh, great tackle by Keating. Gives it to Bridley. He's got a little bit of space. He's got Winch in front of him. And well done to Bridley, who earns the free. No, you're absolutely right, Ben. Derwent haven't looked attacking at all in this third term. And sort of the vintage Derwent of old attacks with numbers. You've got Bowen running forward, McCarthy, pace and power, Grundy up front, causing defence all sorts of problems. But they just have not been free-flowing at all with their attack today. And OHA, as they did in the qualifying final, have done a really good job of just stemming the flow from Derwent.
Yeah, look, OHA are actually using a lot of positional interchange here to try and disrupt Derwent's press, and Derwent don't really have too many answers because they're dragging the opposite side winger out when Derwent are trying to full press, and then they're replacing them with another midfielder, and Derwent are all at sea when that's happening. OHA getting out of defence like there isn't even a press being put on them.
But bit of a tangle over there between McCambridge. Haven't called his name a lot, funnily enough, in this third term with OHA dominating. So I'm sure he'll be keen to get into the game. There has been a call already from the umpire for a foot. And that's going to be three-quarter time here at the Tasmanian Hockey Centre. It is OHA 3, Derwent 2. OHA were 2-0 down at one point in this match and have come back to lead at three-quarter time in this game of very much swings and roundabouts. OHA dominating that third term. And it looks to me, Ben Reid, that Derwent have a lot of work to do to get back into this game in the last quarter. But we do know that anything can happen, and it happens very quickly here in Premier League men's hockey.
Absolutely, and I think they only need one chance, Derwent, but at the moment they haven't had that one chance. So they're going to need to press really, really well. They're going to need to defend well, like they did for the most part for that third quarter. But they're going to have to try and get the ball forward and find Anchor or Bolton and get them in a goal scoring position so that they can make the most of their strengths. Because at the moment they are really looking the second best team out there.
So, Ben Reid, who needs to step up from Derwent in this last quarter? I feel like Bowen's been quiet. We know he's got a lot of pace and power. He's a very talented player. He can change the game on a dime. Who else do you think needs to get into this game?
I think you're looking at a handful of players. Vaughan Bowen, he has to step up in the middle of the ground. He must.
Interesting on Josh Mardell in the first quarter when Derwent were dominating. He just had a couple of passes that he didn't quite get and turned the ball over. And ever since then, he's just looked a little bit out of it and hasn't been dominating with those intercepts that we've seen him do in the past. So I think he's got a big role to play for Derwent if they can get back into it in this second half. As OHA start us underway here. Budgeon on the ball. He's attacked it well all day. Bolton just with a stick infringement. So Thomas will be over the ball. Thomas with the overhead. Well tackled there from Mardell. He's got the skills to get himself out of trouble in that corner. Murphy
Does well to get the free off him, and then Mardell just drops the head again. Murphy auto plays quickly, and that was 5 from Webb. So a lot of pressure on this Derwent side already in this second half, and OHA have started this fourth term just how they started the third, Scott.
Yes, Harry, and that man, Nick Leslie, over the ball once again. He's been exceptional after that first quarter. Vaughan Bowen, here's the man Ben Reid signalled. Needs to step up, making a great transitional run. He's got McCarthy free on his right. He does find him, McCarthy. He's put his shot wide. Huge disappointment there. Great counter-attack from Derwent. See Vaughan Bowen getting into the play. And McCarthy will be very disappointed that he wasn't able to force Henry Chambers into a save at least.
No, McCarthy just needed to somehow get the ball back to the spot for Angus Bolton, but just couldn't get the strength behind it to do so. But Derwent attacking for probably the first time they've done so since the second quarter, so a little bit of momentum here. But Smith intercepts. He's finding his way into the game, and look at his pace. That injury looks all right to me. Well, the overhead from Budgeon was dangerous. So it's all equal at the start of this fourth quarter. Both teams playing with a few attacking plays. Of course, OHA with that goal lead, but Derwent finding a little bit of attack.
Webb on the right. Goes wide into the pocket. Vickery hasn't had too much influence on this game himself. We know Ewan Vickery, 2019 Association, best and fairest. And he's been a little bit quiet in this match too. Here is Mardell over the ball. Good take, good trap. Needs to get around Mac Winch. Uses his brother Harry. Now Webb back on the right, starting to see a fair bit of the ball, the veteran. Winch centrally. Great intercept from Murphy, and Murphy plays it into the path of Budgeon. Budgeon happy to just hold on to it for a moment and win the free hit. No, play on, says umpire Aaron Kitchener, and Derwent desperately clear that one out.
Well, OHA nearly away, and you can already tell in this last term that it has opened up a lot more running from both teams already, so I think we're going to be in for a cracker last quarter. Scott, I think that man Sam McCambridge hasn't had a huge third term, but he is a man that could certainly seal it for OHA and has sealed it in the past so many times, so keep an eye out for him.
Yellow card in the first quarter, huge goal in the second quarter, completely missing in the third quarter, and I think that means that the fourth quarter Sam McCambridge could have a big say in this match. You just look out to the mountain again, Kunani has completely disappeared from view. So I think these players are about to cop it in about 5 minutes or so. Perfect sunshine out here at the moment though, so Bolton has the run of Bowen, who's once again onto the ball. Bowen into the circle. What was that off? No, it was an absolutely genius tackle from James Thomas.
It's a really, really good tackle.
And yellow card comes out, and I think that one's for Tom Broadbury.
That must have been for a push there, I think.
He was warned about that in the third quarter, and then he was just a bit too heavy on Joe Murphy for that one.
Concerns me a bit here, Scotty, that Paul Anker's dropping a long way back in. He took a 16 just about 30 seconds ago for Derwent. He needs to be the one that's sticking up front for them. He's the avenue to goal. He needs to be right up there in the attacking 30 for me.
You can tell how much it means to him though, because we see Paul Anker did this a number of times when he was playing for you guys too, back in his university days. Was prepared to throw himself back when the team was down a player or two.
Yeah, that's right. We used to call him Salt and Pepper. He could do it all.
And we've just seen another card come out. I think that was just a green for Harry Winch. And now Derwent. Oh, no, sorry.
For the other Winch. Oh, there's both Winches.
So, Mac Winch and Harry Winch.
Trouble at the breakfast table tomorrow morning, Scotty, I tell you what.
They've had a little bit of to-do. And if we can cut away to their parents who are sitting together in the crowd, we might be able to get the look of disappointment on their faces.
Gee,
but
which side are they taking?
Both their boys.
Which side are they taking, should I say?
Both Winch boys sitting on the pine for a couple of minutes out of this match. Does leave OHA with the single player advantage. Skies just darken a little bit. Spoke about the weather that's about to hit us.
Zanko, he's deep in the defensive circle. Can't score from there, Paul.
He will try, though. The man prepared to try. Anchor. Grundy free in the middle. Got runners on his right and he misses both of them. There is Isaac Ridley making the intercept. That's a loose ball from him too, and that is Paul Anchor over the top of it again. Uses Vickery out. Now Mardell. Good ball to Webb, who's in an advanced position on the left now. That ball's not too great. Grundy had a fair bit of work to do, and Thomas easily clears that up. Morton now. Good little bit of skill from Morton.
It's a name we haven't called a lot today, actually, Jake Morton. Gee, he's a very, very good player in his own right. He
was a very good player for a long time for that OHA side, especially during their dominant years early on in the 2010s. I know he's had a few troubles with injury, but he seems to have got his body right over the last year or so, and he's back in this side, and I think he adds quite a fair bit to this OHA team, who do lack a little bit for depth, it must be said, and I think having him back in there certainly solves a few issues for the coaching staff.
He flourished actually for Tasmania in the underage ranks, coming through under 16s and under 18s particularly. Jake Morton, he was exceptional.
Yep, Jake Morton had very good junior coaches, I'm told, quite reliably. Anchor around the top of the circle again. He has been the player of the match so far. Spins, puts it back to the spot. Grundy with a half shot, sends it wide of Henry Chambers' net.
What do you think at this point, Scotty? If you're a goal down, are you thinking about taking the goalkeeper off as a coach, or are you going to leave it and do the traditional thing of taking them off desperately in the last minute and a half and hoping that it works?
You know what? I'm a big fan of Magnus Mccauslan, and I think he's been huge on Grand Final day in the past. He had a massive influence on the 2019 Grand Final. I would be very loath to be pulling him off at this stage of the game. I would be putting it back on my team, especially once Tom Broadby re-enters the competition. They go back to 11 players to get it right on the pitch with what they've got. What I would like to see, we've just seen clash of bodies, loose ball, Paul Anchor picks it up. There is Vaughan Bowen, got a chance to spin onto his reverse. Takes a 4-6 shot instead, and he hammers it past Henry Chambers, outstretched left leg, and Vaughan Bowen has just equalised in this match. And we've just seen a yellow card dished out to Sam Keating too. Everything is happening in this match.
What a time to turn up! Oh my goodness! It's his first touch of the game, and it hits the backboard. Well done, Vaughan Bowen. It's huge.
Great work from Vaughan Bowen, and I tell you what, that's exactly what they needed, was someone like that to step up rather than pulling off the goalkeeper. Get their best players on the ball and producing when it matters. So sky's getting darker still. OHA down to 10. Derwent are currently down to 10, although I think Tom Broadby's penalty will expire very shortly, but OHA might be without an 11th player for a significant portion of what remains on the clock in this match. 3-3 is the score. Everything on the line for both of these sides. As I said at the start of the call, 6 premierships each in the last 20 years between them. They are the two most successful men's teams, and whoever wins today will be outright the best.
Oh, she's done well there.
Curtis.
Oh, well done, Henry Curtis. That's fantastic.
No, Nathan Fitzpatrick was desperate to get Henry Curtis back in the side. He spent a long time out with injury over the course of the season, so I think that tells you exactly why Fitzpatrick held that opinion.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. He's actually a very, very versatile player, Henry Curtis. He can play on a number of different lines. He's got very long limbs. He plays up front. He's quite dangerous pressing in that front line, and in the midfield he's very fit and he's quite quick, and he sticks very close to his opponent, and he's able to affect his opponent's possession with those long limbs, and he's got a very long stick as well. He uses the longest stick that he can use. Cambridge is really...
Sam McCambridge was through. Magnus Mccauslan made himself huge inside the net and made a big save. And that was definitely a moment for Sam McCambridge to step up. Equally, Magnus Mccauslan steps up and makes the save. Going to see, we've got about 5 minutes to play here, and we are going to see some huge moments, I think, from some big game players as this match comes to its conclusion. Poposky over the ball.
What's your pick at the moment, Scotty? Who's got the balance of play?
This one's going to a shootout, Ben.
Jackson Turner's running off. He's I don't know if he's hurt himself or he's run out of gas, but he needs a replacement. They brought on Isaac Ridley. It's got to be advantage OHA. His
We're about to be down to 9, though.
That is experience. No, that's experience from Anchor. He has gone down there. Look at him go. That's Joe Murphy. See you later.
Well, I think that has just swung the match back in Derwent's favour. They now have a 2-player advantage on the field with just a couple of minutes left on the clock. Chance to score a winning goal here. What a turnaround that would be.
You see that bouncing ball going in there to Vickery in that bottom right-hand corner. He just traps them 100 times out of 100. He's diligent with his training on the bouncing balls. He was always going to trap that one.
Webb. Out wide to that man, Vickery. Smith beats him this time. And happy just to take their time. I think OHA now, with just 9 players left on the field, probably playing for the shootout. And I tell you what, we've got a couple of spots of water just dropping now, and
it's about to get dark, isn't it?
Skies have darkened very much. There's not a whole lot of visibility outside the Tasmanian Hockey Centre. A couple of minutes left on the clock. If this one goes to shootout, it might be a wild, wet shootout. Curtis playing in the middle of the park now.
Really good from Curtis there.
Now Vickery. Into the circle. Was he taken out? Was that going to be a penalty corner? Play on, says umpire Vincent Harmon.
What a slick play Ewan Vickery is. He's been pretty quiet the whole game, and he has it all in his locker. He could be one to unlock this game.
Stepped up in this final quarter. Now Webb. Now Broadby. Clifford. There's Anchor right at the pads of Henry Chambers in the OHA goals.
That one nearly hit Anchor on the chin. He was down so low.
So it looks like OHA more keen to just hold on to this match rather than chase the win themselves. They know that there's not a whole lot of time left. They know that it's all tied 3-3, and they think, I reckon, that they can win this in a shootout if they can get to it. Dangerous strategy, though.
The wind in their sails here, Scotty. This is OHA going to need to hold on if this goes to a shootout.
Mardell with a big entry. James Clifford was waiting there at the back post and was just caught a little bit flat-footed.
He'll be kicking himself for that one, I think, if that ain't me. They're splitting the fullbacks again, Derwent. They've been trying this the whole game, but now they've got a 2-player advantage. They're really putting it on them. There's Ridley again. He's done well there, Ridley.
Joe Murphy back on the field. In fact, both OHA players are back on the field. So it's 11 v 11 for the final moments of regulation time. Sorry. This match, I reckon, might end up going to shootout unless there's one final twist. Broadby. Intercepted by Leslie. Ball's loose to McCambridge. McCambridge into the circle. Past Webb. He's drawn the keeper out and he wins a penalty corner. What a moment in this grand final. A penalty corner right at the death. Sam McCambridge wins it. We see Webb goes down. Kitchener gives him a chance to play on.
So I think it's Webb. Webb's gone to ground, and there must have been a stick check there from Webb on McCambridge for the penalty corner to be given there.
Wow.
Here we go. I've been calling it all day, Scotty, and this one is going to be James. Ooh, no, I don't know.
Joe Murphy.
I think it'll be James.
Injection.
Nope.
It is Murphy. He's put it wide. He says it's come off the defender, but umpire doesn't want anything to do with it.
Oh, dear.
And now what do? Derwent, do they chase a goal in the final seconds? Webb looking long. Broadby, a little bit of space in midfield. Here's Bowen, that man who scored the equaliser. There's James Clifford. Clifford takes a look up, not many in front of him. Goes to Bolton, intercepting is Jake Morton. And a huge clearance. Good touch from Vince.
Ooh,
oh,
that's a
and
card.
Winch
See you
is
later,
going to
Harry
get
Winch.
set up for playing that
Mate.
one. So, not long to go at all. Ollie Smith desperate to get that ball forward. To Vince again. He's bundled off it by Mardell, who knows exactly what is left on the clock and is happy just to eat up as much as he can. Wow.
15 seconds to go here, Scotty. What do you reckon? Mardell's happy to see this go to a shootout, isn't he? Take this to the corner.
That's a very interesting decision, to be honest. I would have thought one more overhead, one more long pass looking for Anchor in the circle.
Pipe it up the other end and let Anchor just do the magic.
Yep. Looks like he's happy to take it to a shootout, and what a way to end the men's 2021 Premier League Grand Final, with the rain starting to hit us, and it's 3-3 at full time. And last time these two teams went to a shootout, it was OHA who won, so we're in for some drama.
This is actually an enormous moment at the moment, Scotty. We've seen a penalty corner that's been fired wide by Joe Murphy, and we're looking at a team that's won the shootout 2 weeks ago against Derwent, and wow, I really don't know what's going to happen here. I think there's going to be a lot of confident players standing over the ball from 25 yards, but I also think the goalkeeper is going to be really, really confident.
Well, last week we saw Magnus and Mccauslan absolutely brilliant in the shootout, 3 saves, and then huge save when it went to sudden death shootouts. But we know Henry Chambers very talented goalkeeper as well, so really anyone's game, I'd say. Shootout is a bit of a coin flip.
I think what you're going to see is some saves from both goalkeepers, who are both very talented on one-on-ones, and to continue with my biased commentary, what you're going to see is Paul Anchor scoring the winning goal in sudden death, Scotty.
Funnily enough, I don't think Paul Anchor scored from his shootouts in these finals.
He's saving him. He didn't miss for uni. When he played for the proper club, he did not miss.
Very dark skies indeed now. The rain is settling in. The wind seems to disappear, so this one's probably not going to blow over anytime soon. Well, a shootout. So, teams start from the 23. It's a one-on-one with the goalkeeper. The attacker will start from the 23. They have 8 seconds to run it into the circle and get a shot away. Put it either in the net or see it saved and cleared. Doesn't stop until the ball goes either out of the circle for a second time over the baseline, or the 8 seconds expires. So we can have a shot, see a keeper save it, and it still play on as long as the ball's still live. So there can be plenty of drama in a shootout. Probably see Ewan Vickery take one, Josh Mardell.
Vaughan Bowen.
All eyes will be on Paul Anchor though. He's missed both opportunities he's had to score in the previous finals. Huge moment for that man, and he has scored. He has scored a goal early on today as well. So we see young George Kitchener as the support umpire.
Scott, it looks to me like Nick Leslie has the training top on, coach of OHA and a big leader in that group. So that's an interesting decision. But as coach, he obviously knows his players best. So interesting there as the players start to come out now.
Certainly would have backed Nick Leslie in to take one of these and score. So we're interested to see who that final 5 has been selected for both of those sides. I think I don't think there's going to be too many changes to the way Derwent have lined up. It looks like it's going to be Mardell to take the first one. Anchor, Vickery, Bowen, and Bolton look to be coming out to take those ones. For OHA now, looks like we've got Budgeon as part of that group. Murphy, Smith, Thomas and McCambridge. So they have gone for the 2 injured players, but Josh Mardell is taking the first one. It'll be Josh Mardell against Henry Chambers for the first shootout.
This is huge here. I actually Leslie must be injured. He must be.
8 second start for Mardell. Into the circle early, onto his reverse. Oh, he sent it wide. Looks like he had done everything he needed to do to get Henry Chambers off balance and open it up for himself, and Mardell has sent it wide. I wonder how much the conditions have played into him missing the net on that occasion, Ben.
That's a pretty, I would have thought that Josh Mardell would score that one. And if he can get the keeper in that position, I would have thought he'd score that 9 times out of 10 and possibly more than that, actually.
Now Oliver Smith against Magnus Mccauslan. Wow. He maybe made it very complicated for himself to start with and then simplified it a lot and put it straight into the backboard.
Well, Ollie Smith is actually probably one of the best one-on-one takers in Australia, so I'm not surprised to see him slot that one in the back of the net despite the injury.
1-0 in favour of OHA.
Huge levers, Ollie Smith. It's almost unfair that he gets to take one on once. He's so good.
Angus Bolton approaches the circle. Spins around Chambers and sends it into the goals.
Gee, Bolton's almost automatic on those ones over the last 5 years, Scotty. He's that's really, really impressive to see him do that. Henry's an accomplished goalkeeper and he thought he had that covered. Well done, Bolton. It's fantastic.
Angus Bolton, the 2019 All-Star Player of the Year. Here is James Thomas. Oh, he got himself into trouble there and he invited Mccauslan onto him, and Magnus Mccauslan has stepped up in the grand final once again and made a huge save.
I think if you're James Thomas there, you're probably standing at the 25 with the ball and you're thinking, he's had my number all day on penalty corners. How can I stick this past him? Well, Magnus had the answer for that one. Here's Paul Anker. I think let's cut out the middle, man. Let's just call a goal right now.
Here's Paul Anker. A lot of pressure on him from this opportunity. Straight into the circle. Chambers makes an initial save. And he might have a claim for a retake.
What are they doing? They're wearing microphones, these guys. They've called for a retake.
Yeah, I thought Chambers was just on the ball for an extra split second. It did kind of release eventually, but
is that for a hand in the back initially and then underneath the leg there, so it was unplayable? Umpire Vinnie Harmon's very accomplished. I'm sure he's made the right call there, particularly if it favours Anker. So fair enough.
Difficult call to make, but Anker gets a second chance.
I think this one will be more clear cut. Here we go.
Anker. First Chambers again. Oh, he's hit the post. Oh dear. Paul Anker has hit the post, and that's a dramatic retake and a dramatic moment in this shootout and the grand final.
Well, they might have changed the dimensions of the goals in the last couple of years, Scotty. Hurry. Here we go. Kurt
Budgeon against Mccauslan. Well, he's taken a leaf out of Ollie Smith's playbook and just hammered it into the goals, and Mccauslan was left stranded.
It's a good strike on the reverse there from Kurt Budgeon. I think Magnus will look back on that and he'll be very disappointed he didn't take one more step out and close down the angle.
Well, shootout 2-1. Both sides have 2 more attempts to go.
We've got Ewan Vickery here.
Chambers comes out to meet him. Vickery, little slip up. Gets around Chambers in the end and slips it into the goals. Derwent back level.
That's a very cool, calm and collected hockey player right there. You wonder he hasn't put a foot wrong the entire game. And he's obliged there from 25 yards. Well done.
Certainly grown as this match has worn on, and then sinks an important shootout attempt too.
This is big for Joe.
Joe Murphy. First shot is saved by Mccauslan. Second one is saved by Mccauslan. Third shot is sent wide after the 8 seconds has expired. And it is all square, 2-all with 1 attempt left for each side before we get sent into instant win shootouts.
In the period since the 2020 finals and the elimination final last year, Joe Murphy's now missed 4 one-on-ones and 2 penalty strokes at the death, which I think he's probably going to do a little bit of work on that this summer.
Yep.
Scotty.
Tough for a young player.
He's just brilliant as well. Brilliant young player.
Vaughan Bowen, another brilliant player. Henry Chambers is corralled him well, gets an important stick save, and Chambers turns to the crowd and says, how do you like that?
Who's taking this? Sam McCambridge. Oh, tell you what.
Ben Reid, is a game set up any better than this? Sam McCambridge for the win against Magnus Mccauslan in goals.
Well, Didier Drogba scored the winning penalty in the 2012 Champions League final for Chelsea. He's the centre forward. Is McCambridge OHA's Didier Drogba today?
McCambridge straight into the circle. Mccauslan comes out to the spot to meet him. McCambridge tries to slip it past him, but Mccauslan gets an important touch.
Too casual.
We have seen Mccauslan learn from the last time they faced each other in a shootout. McCambridge tried the same thing. This time Mccauslan has made the save, and we are going into the instant win shootout. All of a sudden, none of that counts. Let's go again.
Jim Mccauslan, he's like a spider in there with pads on. I love to watch it. Gosh, he's an exciting young man, Magnus Mccauslan. I love it.
Wow.
Ollie Smith.
What's he going to do on this one? Same thing again?
I think he'll take it to his left-hand side. He'll turn around and he'll spin. He'll use those enormous arms of his to just slip it into that bottom corner.
Smith's 8 seconds starts.
Oh, no, he hasn't. Magnus.
Wow.
The spider.
Wow.
The spider is setting it up. Oh, no. I thought they would have set anchor out.
Magnus Mccauslan in a grand final makes another massive save.
He's a king, isn't he?
He's a king.
He loves it. He eats up the pressure.
And all Josh Mardell has to do to hand Derwent the 2021 Premier League title is score this shootout attempt. Crowd is absolutely buzzing.
Henry Chambers will be confident here, I think.
Mardell. Oh, he's done it. He has done it. Josh Mardell has put away the final shootout, and he has won the title for Derwent in 2021, and we can see the elation on their faces. They are absolutely over the moon at winning this one. What an absolutely amazing way to end this final, and they are going nuts in the Derwent huddle. They are absolutely going crazy. Josh Mardell has managed to slip it past Henry Chambers and scores the winning goal, but boy oh boy, Ben Reid, what about Magnus Mccauslan in goals?
Oh, Magnus, the spider. What a man. He kept him out, didn't he? And I think, look, Magnus did an enormous job, but let's not forget about Josh Mardell. He actually scored a drag flick pretty late on last week in the game against Canterbury, which somehow found its way in, and that was a massive goal for them. And he scored the winning goal for them in the shootout last week, and he's now managed to just double up. He's done that again this week. Crikey. He's got ice running through his veins, Josh Mardell. He's come from England, and he's blessing Tasmania at the moment.
Well, what an absolutely incredible Premier League grand final we have been treated to today here at the Tasmanian Hockey Centre. Just as much drama on the field as there was in the weather. But we have been absolutely treated to a spectacle, and congratulations to Derwent Hockey Club. They are the premiers for 2021.
Well, Scott, that's almost the perfect grand final. It had twists, it had turns. Derwent went up 2-0 early, looked completely in charge. OHA had no answers. Somehow OHA scored their first goal and then dominated in the third term. And then we saw the last term become a little bit more even, and OHA even went ahead before Derwent equalised. And then the drama of the shootout. Both teams with a chance to win it. OHA, Sam McCambridge couldn't finish it. Mccauslan huge. And then Mardell, who by his own admission hasn't had his best game today, so to step up and finish like that is elite player and shows why he's such a professional. Derwent, worthy champions, dominated all season in Premier League men hockey and deserving winners. For OHA, they'll be disappointed.
Well, they'll be more than disappointed, Harry. I'm tipping they're gonna treat this one as the one that got away. They probably weren't favourites coming into the game, and to see it go that way, they were down 2-0. They probably would have expected to come out really hard, as everybody did here in the hockey community. And they actually rallied. They came back and they were up 3-2, and they on the balance of play, they'd count themselves around like that.
We are bringing you the presentation of the medals live here from the Hockey Centre, and I'll hand you over to Damien Smith, CEO of Hockey Tasmania.
Well, welcome to we just witnessed super hockey from both teams. And I'd like to acknowledge and pay respect to the Tasmanian Aboriginal community as the traditional and original owners and continuing custodians of this land. I also would like to welcome the Chair of Hockey Tasmania, Ken Reid, and Deputy Chair Doug Williamson, Mark Mccauslan as the Tour Director, and again I thank Mark and all of the officiating group that he's been working with this year. They've done a super job. I'd also like to welcome Lisa Marion and Sarah Cassidy from the OHA and Derwent presidents, our two female presidents. They've done a great job for their club, so thank you both. I'd like to ask Ken to come up to
ladies and gentlemen, thanks Smithy for your microphone. It's not working all that well. Tremendous game, fantastic game under its very adverse conditions. I think we really saw why Tasmania is a powerhouse in Australian hockey at the moment, because we have great juniors and great seniors.
And that's Chair of Hockey Tasmania, Ken Reid, having a few issues with the microphone.
In the men's game, we are definitely right up
Reid
there with the best in this nation. This competition, the men's competition, is fantastic. The women's competition is catching up. There is no question about it. The Board of Hockey Tasmania is putting resources into making sure that our women's game gets up with the men. But we have just seen one of the great finals under really, as I say, adverse conditions. Congratulations and thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks for that. I'd just like to present a couple more awards to you. The first one I'd like is Ange May to present the Umpire of the Year Award to Harry Lynch, who's playing today. Couldn't turn up that night, so well done, Harry. This game if he wasn't playing, so that's good. The other we'd like to present Young. I'm going to do her some
Jenny Young is going to present the Pat Hood Encouragement Award to Magnus Mccauslan. everyone coming out throughout the year, supporting. It's been an absolute pleasure to be able to play in front of such a large crowd during these times when other states aren't able to. So a big, huge round of applause for you guys as well for supporting both teams throughout the entire year. Thank you very much to the officiating and the tech bench as well. We appreciate everything you do throughout the year as well. Australia across to our fellas, well done. Hard fought, came back from absolutely nowhere and put in a hard yard. We'll drink our photos later. And to Derwent, absolute fantastic program you've got going on over there, so absolute raps to you guys. You put it all together the entire season and there's an absolute reason why you finished on top 17. So well done, enjoy it. Have a good night.
And before we get on to the festivities with Derwent, I'd just like Ange May to present our prize. Aaron Kitchener, thanks guys coming out to witness. Well done guys, good job. If I can now ask the captain of Derwent to say a few words.
First of all, I'd like to thank OHA, cracking game out there. You gave it to us the whole way, so thank you very much for that. I'd like to thank the umpires throughout the whole season, everyone who's worked on the bench as well. I'd like to thank Derwent's sponsors, Fitzy, Stretch, Drugs, and Mccauslan. I'd like to thank you all so much. You've done a lot for the team this season. We really appreciate it. Last off, I'd like to thank all the boys. We had a fantastic season. Winning this grand final today, just the cherry on the top. And thanks to all you guys who came out to support.
So if I can ask Sarah and Alyssa to come and present the names, and I'll get your two colleagues' teammates out.
Again. Magnus. Big H. Brothers.
Josh. Amen. Paul. Drugs. Stretch. Mixo. Big hit. And the captain will quickly go on here. So, the 2021 Premier League Derwent Hockey Club. Well done, guys. So, we're going to play the final spot. My bad. The player of the final is from the Derwent Hockey Club, and it's on.
Sean Bowen, you just played an epic grand final. You scored the equaliser late there to get them back in the match. What are your immediate thoughts straight after that?
Oh, I'm just stoked. Like, honestly, yeah, I'm still pretty excited about everything that happened. It was a really good game, a really tough one actually. Probably one of the better finals, you know. And anyone can come and watch. So yeah, stoked with the end result, and yeah, it was a great game for everyone.
A couple of early goals for you guys, and then all of a sudden they pigged you back. Even got it in front at a point there. What was kind of going through your head when you was one behind?
We just stick to our process, you know. We just do the same thing we've been doing all year, and just continue to fight and do what we know. And then, we just know we just come away with the result, so pretty happy.
And you've gone to a shootout in all 3 finals. You've managed to win 2 of them at least. What's it like going through that?
Horrible, to be honest. Yeah, it's pretty nerve-wracking. I don't want to do it anymore if I don't have to, so thank God that was the last one.
And of course, player of the match in a grand final, just how does that feel?
Yeah, pretty good. You know, like, we work so hard throughout the year, and, you know, it's just good that I can, you know, be able to be the person to provide for my team, so pretty stoked.
All right, well, congratulations on the win, mate, and good year all round.
Thanks, Scotty. Cheers, mate.